We're seeing blue sky. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that with me. My name is Scott Zane. I'm the owner and president of Kingman Yacht Center. Where you are now, I'd like to welcome you all and thank you very much for coming. There are a million things to do this day and every day, and taking a time out is really very much appreciated. We're here to celebrate the coming online and the performance of the largest solar power facility on Cape Cod. I should say the largest commercial solar facility. And this has been a work that has taken almost a year from now to happen. And thanks to the efforts of the people at Beaumont Solar, Frank and Phil, who I'll introduce you to in a few minutes, this thing has become a reality and right on schedule, right on target, and the system is producing as advertised, and in fact a little bit better than advertised. And we'll tell you all about that. I think that the goal today is to show you a little bit about what we're doing, how the system works. I'd like to thank also some special people for coming down and taking time out of their busy schedules. Specifically, I'd like to welcome Don Picard from the Board of Selectmen here in Bourne. State Representative Matt Patrick is here, as is Chris Adams from Congressman Delahunt's office, Laura Buckley from State Senator Teresa Murray's office, and all the rest of you. This system that is installed on the roofs of the three buildings that are surrounding you, the three steel buildings, are comprised of 474 solar panels, each one of them about 3 by 5 feet, and mounted to the building with steel racks. Essentially what happens in a nutshell is that 99 kilowatts of power are potentially generated by these panels. But over the course of a year, it's projected that we'll generate approximately 120,000 kilowatt hours of power out of this system. To put that in perspective, that's about just under a quarter of the power that is used by this marina and the restaurant and the rest of this facility in the course of a given year. In fact, in the wintertime, we're making about the same amount that we're using, but it averages out to about 23%, I believe, of the total usage of the marina over the course of the year. Carbon dioxide output, by 39 tons just in the first 6 months of this year. Over the course of each year, the reduction is approximately the same as planting 37 acres of trees every year. It's approximately the same as taking 16 automobiles off the road permanently every year. It's approximately the same as not burning 10,000 gallons of gasoline every year. That's pollution which is not going into the environment, and yes, we're acting locally and thinking globally, but that's eventually what's working along with our other projects to save watersheds like Buzzards Bay. I think that the takeaway here is that the marina, along with other larger businesses on Cape Cod, are in a unique position to impact our environment. And through investments such as this, we're able to do something concrete and specific to try to protect the environment that's so important to why people come to Cape Cod. All that said, let me introduce Phil Cavallo, who is the president of Beaumont Solar, and Phil will tell you a little bit about how this whole thing works.
Well said, Scott. I appreciate the grasp of the details, which is, for some of us, a little bit difficult to get a hold of when we start talking about abstract terms like tons of carbon. What exactly is a ton of carbon? And have you seen a ton of carbon? You know, it's not something that you see, it's not visual, it's abstract, but it is pollution. And we think that it is, doing a project like this is really acting locally and thinking globally. So we applaud Scott, we applaud Kingman Yacht Center for the boldness in being able to take a step like this to implement a system that's 100 kilowatts that can produce 120,000 kilowatt hours a year and reduce their power bill by 25%. Let me take a couple of minutes. Marlene here has graciously decided to brave the wind and hold on to that sail. But I'd like to take a couple of minutes and explain how solar works for those of us that don't know how it works, and for those of us that do, it's a little review. The three buildings that Scott pointed out, the big shed, which is just over here to my right, and then the paint shed, which is a little bit further main office building, all have solar panels on the south side of those three buildings. So he mentioned the number of panels and so on, 474 I think he said. But each of those panels has a watt rating. So when the sun hits the panels, they generate direct current, DC, similar to a 12-volt battery. The sun hits those panels and we combine the wires coming from those panels down to what are called inverters. And these inverters are basically big electronic contraptions of the size of a refrigerator that convert DC into AC. And AC is what we use in our homes and what we use in our offices and buildings, and it runs machinery. So that AC then gets delivered to the circuit breaker panel inside of the building or inside of a facility.
Be very brief. I had the pleasure of touring the location about 6 weeks ago with Scott, and saw his commitment to the environment. And as a member of the Board of Selectmen, I'd like to thank you publicly for your commitment to the environment. And I just wish we had more business owners and entrepreneurs who would take advantage of solar and other efficient.
Amen.
Exactly, other efficient methods of generating power. So again, Scott, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank, and thank you for inviting me. This is it's a wonderful day. You know, I couldn't be prouder of how all this has worked out. This is my district. What a beautiful district, huh? I mean, could you be in a better place on a day like today? And to see what we're doing to protect it is just phenomenal. Kingman Marine, Scott, I think the world of you for doing this, and Phil, Frank. I see Maria Oliva from the Canal Chamber of Commerce. She's here. They recognize the need for this stuff. I'm just extremely happy to be here, and thank you.
Thanks, Phil, Frank, and Scott for the invitation to come here on what's really an exciting day for solar, but really in general the alternative energy space here in southeastern Massachusetts. I wanted to first pass along the Congressman's regrets for not being able to attend this morning. I'm sure, given the choice between slogging it out in D.C. today or being here, I think I can confidently say he'd much prefer to be here. But in his stead, he asked me to come and just offer some congratulations for this great partnership between Beaumont and Kingman Yacht Center. Energy. You take a local company out of New Bedford, hiring local guys, putting them to work in the middle of winter on Cape Cod, in the bottom of an economic recession or depression, taking advantage of federal tax dollars to do that, and then taking the energy component of that. And really what this project shows is that energy doesn't have to, or alternative energy or energy independence doesn't have to go strictly from the top down. It can start locally. It can start at projects like this in other places on Cape Cod that have led and will follow this project in terms of energy independence. So I just want to congratulate them on how really important this project was to the economy, to the viability of local people. It affects people right here on Cape Cod and in the region.
Tell you how much it means to not only the Senate President, but everybody else in her district, that an institution like Kingman Marina, who sets the path for greatness in industry, has led the way in renewable energy, especially in solar. Thank you very much for all of your collaboration and hard work to make this happen. And I know the Senate President deeply regrets not being able to be here today, but I'm so happy I was able to come in her place.